Hello and welcome to Newsmaker with me, Parikshit Luthra. When the chips are down, you can count on India. With those words, Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the Semicon Summit 2024 here in Noida. His message to the industry was this: the Indian government is embracing all measures to make it simpler for semiconductor companies to invest and make in India. Ashmit Kumar, my colleague, gets you all the highlights.
The Make in India line made with Made in India chips, that's not just a tongue twister, but the broader message that the Prime Minister, that the Indian leadership is looking to send out to the broader semiconductor space, the broader semiconductor stakeholders. I'm coming to you from Greater Noida, Uttar Pradesh. I'm coming to you from Semicon India 2024. When the chips are down, you can bet on India. A quotable quote coming in from none other than the Prime Minister himself as he makes a pitch for India as a destination for semiconductors, pointing out that India has a large market, a large pool of trained engineers, as well as state support. He said that India has come a fair bit in the last 2 years, but India wants more of the semiconductor pie and that India is prepared to do whatever it takes.
आप सही समय पर सही जगह पर है। 21st सेंचुरी के भारत में द चिप्स आर नेवर डाउन और सिर्फ इतना ही नहीं है, आज का भारत दुनिया को भरोसा देता है when the chips are down, you can bet on India.
Well, the current semiconductor scheme has a war chest of 76,000 crore rupees, and it is here at Semicon 2024 that Ashwini Vaishnav drops the term Semicon 2.0, signifying the next wave of state support programs for the semiconductor industry, hinting that it could be much wider in scope and in terms of the money deployed.
5 यूनिट्स अप्रूव हो गए और उसमें से 2 में कंस्ट्रक्शन का काम अच्छा तेजी से चल रहा है, बाकी 3 का कंस्ट्रक्शन जल्दी चालू होगा. नाउ वी आर फॉर्मुलेटिंग द सेमिकॉन 2.0 which will be a much expanded form of the Semicon 1.0. भारत में कम से कम 3 या 4 स्टेट्स के अंदर सेमीकंडक्टर की प्रोडक्शन की फैसिलिटी आने वाले समय में लगेगी, जिसमें उत्तर प्रदेश भी शामिल होगा.
But perhaps the biggest news coming out of Semicon India 2024 is that the next semiconductor unit that we see in India could be in the state of Uttar Pradesh. We spoke to the UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. He said that he's willing to provide 25% capital support, which when combined with the central government support adds up to capital support of 75% for a semiconductor unit being set up here in UP.
लैंड के साथ साथ कैपिटल सब्सिडी में भी उन्हें सहयोग करते हैं, जो 25% तक जाता है. तो स्वाभाविक रूप से भारत सरकार और राज्य सरकार मिलकर के देते हैं, तो केवल कैपिटल सब्सिडी में ही उन्हें 75% की सब्सिडी उपलब्ध हो जाती है.
We will create 50,000 jobs as part of this journey, which is just the beginning. Semiconductor industry has a multiplier effect on job creation, and every semiconductor job will create 10 additional jobs in the ecosystem.
We are engaging with the whole industry downstream in the automotive sector, in the industrial sector, and that is going to make India extremely powerful as an economy, far, far beyond semiconductors. In that context, NXP is committed to double its R&D efforts here in the country in the next few years, which is far in excess of $1 billion.
Now to a CNBC TV18 exclusive. TV Narendran of Tata Steel has backed the industry's call for more curbs on Chinese steel imports. His thinking is this: the Chinese industry is in trouble and it should not be allowed to export its problems into India. Listen in to TV Narendran speaking to my colleague Latha Venkatesh.
It's a good beginning because it's a problem which we last experienced in 2015 when more than 100 million tons of steel was exported out of China. It's the same thing happening now. And the big problem is they are selling steel at prices at which they are losing money. And this is having its impact on the rest of the industry across the world. Other countries have taken action, and I think India should certainly look at taking some actions.
You know, during the results presentation, you told Nigel that even at that point, the Chinese steel was losing money at about $50 to $60 per ton.
That's right.
It still continues at that level?
Absolutely, it does. In fact, since then the steel prices have dropped. To some extent, the iron ore and coal prices have dropped, and that's helped support or limit the losses, let me put it that way. But the problem is acute, and the financial statements of the Chinese steel companies state the obvious. And the chairman of the biggest Chinese steel company, Bao, has also himself said it publicly that the industry is in very bad shape in China. So I think we should not let them export their problems to us. I mean, that's a fundamental point.
You know, Naveen Jindal, when the minister said that it will be about 7 to 12%, Naveen Jindal said that's not enough. What is a good number according to you? 15, 20, what would be the right number?
No, I know this is a difficult one simply because there are a lot of steel consuming industries out there who like low steel prices, right? So I think it's about finding a balance where the industry can make reasonable profit so that it can reinvest that money to build new capacities. India is blessed with iron ore. Why should a country like India, which is blessed with iron ore, be importing steel? You know, it's quite ridiculous. So I think the point is, we have iron ore, we shouldn't be exporting iron ore and importing steel. We should be converting that iron ore into steel. We should be a big exporter of steel.
It should be ours. It should be our terrain. But 17%, that's what some brokerage reports told us.
I think it's like this. You know, honestly, in this industry, unless you make a 15 to 20% EBITDA margin, you will not have the cash flows required to build new steel capacities. Because building steel capacities is a lot of money. It's $1 billion, a million tons roughly, right? So you need that 15 to 20% EBITDA margin, and otherwise you will not be able to build capacity. You can survive, but you will not build new capacities, and
No,
India needs new capacity.
I'll come to that EBITDA per ton.
Yeah.
I'll go from economy to the micro. But just to finish this argument, how is China looking right now? I mean, it's about 6-8 weeks since we spoke to you after your results. Has it improved or has it gotten worse?
I think it's not improved, certainly. The problem is being felt in China as well. Most of the Chinese steel companies continue to lose money. There are some closures of capacity, but the demand is also not recovering. So the problem is there. And while the steel industry is an example of what's happening, but I think this is applicable to all industries. I mean, so I think as other countries are also seeing, we should have a view if somebody like China is exporting a lot of whatever they produce at prices that kills the local industry, what should be our view? Should we allow it? Should we not allow it? And which is what the EU is doing, the US is doing, Canada is doing, everybody else is doing.
Yeah, I know EU has gone with for solar and for
EVs.
That's true. But yeah, as you say, there is the local unit, steel using unit, which will be rejoicing when import prices are lower. But to come back to the demand situation, how is the demand situation in India? Will it be hit if you got this tariff and prices became higher?
I don't think so, because prices have dropped $100 in the last 6 months. The demand was fine 6 months back. So I don't think anything is going to change that way. I think the point is in India, well, the demand is reasonably strong. It reflects the GDP growth rate. This is a lean quarter because of monsoons. Construction activity is a bit low, which is typically where a lot of steel goes. Auto has been going strong, but of course, just now we're looking at the stocks and dealers, etc. But otherwise, auto has been strong for the last few years. We look at commercial vehicles, slow down a little bit.
MHCV was slowed down for the August number.
Slow down a little bit. Two-wheelers look strong, which means the rural economy looks like it's better. So overall, steel consumption is okay, but we are not able to export because international prices are so bad. In fact, that's another problem.
But how is global demand?
Global demand is okay. Some parts like the US is fine. Europe is still struggling to recover. Middle East, Africa is not bad. Southeast Asia is okay.
But you're getting undercut.
I think the problem which we are facing, everyone else is facing, right? And hence they're closing borders.
So this quarter margins could be lower than Q1?
Well, yes, but like I said, coking coal prices and iron ore prices have also dropped. Coking coal has an impact on our costs. It's not dropped enough. At today's steel prices of what it is, I think coking coal should be much lower, you know.
No, 13,800 rupees per ton, if I remember right. Second quarter EBITDA per ton. It could be how much lower you think?
I won't give you a guidance because we
But
are still in
the delta
quarter.
could be lower, you
Delta
think?
could be lower, which is what we guided in the last.
You did. Yes. What about Netherlands? Even in Netherlands, you were EBITDA positive.
Yeah.
Will it remain positive but a lower level?
Yeah, so it will be positive. I think in Netherlands last year was a bad year for us because we had one of our blast furnaces down for a relining. That blast furnace is back. We are back to full production. So our internal challenges that we faced last year are no longer with us. We are operationally running well, but the markets are bad. Again, a reflection of what's happening in China and elsewhere. So yes, it will be positive EBITDA, but obviously margins and spreads are squeezed because of what's happening.
What about the EBITDA loss in UK? UK is a twin problem. It was still an EBITDA loss and the government has changed. So how do things look in the second half?
Sure. I think in UK our plan was always to transition to a greener process route, which also is a more competitive process route for us because UK has scrap which it exports, right? So instead of importing iron ore and coal and making steel, we said let's use a local scrap and it will be greener steel, which was the business case which we presented to the government and they're supporting us. Let me say that the conversations with the government have reached a very, very good stage, and I don't
By
want
good,
to say
you
anything
mean
more.
positive?
Very positive stage. I think very quickly you'll hear some announcements.
That's extremely positive. So let me just extend the time horizon a bit. Your Neelachal expansions will be, are underway anyway. So if you want to guide us for FY26, do you think by then, because of volumes, you will be able to do a better EBITDA per ton? What can you guide for 26 and 27?
Sure. I think the critical milestones for us this year, one is UK, moving ahead with the transition plan. That will at least stop the bleed for us in UK because that was a big negative for us. Netherlands, which was traditionally positive but last year negative, will be positive this year and will continue to be that way. Obviously we are concerned about the margins because of the market. In India, the big milestone is getting the Kalinganagar expansion completed. The blast furnace should start in the next couple of weeks. So that's a 5 million ton expansion. So most of that volume will come through for us next year. Higher volumes in a high fixed cost business like ours means more competitiveness. So yeah, so that's where it is. So I think in all three major sites, we should see some positive developments.
On that note, we take a short break, but don't go anywhere. When we return, we'll tell you all about the Windsor EV, which has been launched by the JSW-MG Motor India joint venture. We speak to Parth Jindal and Rajiv Chaba. It's a big moment for JSW-MG Motor India. The first car by the joint venture has been launched today. It's called the Windsor EV. Why is this important and how does this joint venture want to disrupt the Indian electric vehicle market? Joining us right now is the director of the JSW-MG Motor India joint venture, Parth Jindal, and also Rajiv Chaba, CEO Emeritus, JSW-MG Motor India. Thank you very much for joining us. Parth, the pricing strategy first, what was the thinking?
No, I think we want to really push EV penetration in India. We want this car to be affordable, and we really want this to be a global, an Indian phenomena, full country, not just an Indian phenomena, but a Bharat phenomena. So we don't want this to be only in the tier 1 cities where today you see maximum number of EVs. We want this to go down to tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. And we wanted to bring a product and an offering that truly excites every single consumer and every single customer. And that's why we, chose this product, and that's why we chose the pricing that we have.
All right. So, Mr. Chaba, how do you hope this segment and this car is going to grow the market for you, grow the pie for you?
So we definitely feel this car is going to attract those customers who have been who are on the fringe right now and who have been thinking about buying an EV, but there are lots of doubts in their mind about the acquisition cost, the battery life, the resale price. So today, what we have announced today, 9.99 lakhs to own this car, plus pay a paltry sum of 3.5 rupees per kilometer for the battery. addresses that huge issue that EV can be at par with ICE. And then other issues, what we have addressed today, as you know, is that people talk about the battery life and all. We are saying, hey, this battery is for your lifetime guarantee we are giving on this battery as long as you own it as a first car, and likewise resale price. So with all these package, I think it's a very compelling proposition, and the people who have been thinking about buying an EV, it will be a very forced, compelling thing to them to really consider Windsor.
All right, so roughly 10 lakhs ex-showroom. What will be the top variant and how will it cost?
So we are going to announce all that very soon before the bookings start on 3rd of October. But today we are trying to, I shouldn't say educate, but trying to dispel this notion that EVs are costly. EVs can be, with this Windsor launch, with the current battery prices, we are trying to say, hey, this car is actually equivalent or better than the ICE engine.
Right. You know, apart range anxiety, that's a real issue for people considering buying electric vehicles. How are you trying to break that doubt with the Windsor EV?
No, I think if you look at the other two MG models that are out, the Comet and the ZS EV, I think whatever claimed range the company claims and what the actual is, there is a very, very strong correlation. I think MG brings its products and it's got the best-in-class battery in the industry. It has the most reliable battery and the most reliable range. So I don't think for an MG that is a real issue for the customer. I think the issue has been the cost of acquisition. Everyone always talks about EVs being much more expensive. And if you look at the recent launches by our competition, the delta in price between their EV variant and their ICE variant is unbelievable. The EV being much, much higher. So we want to bust that myth that EVs are more expensive. Battery prices globally are on the decline. And with our battery as a service solution, we have truly decoupled that myth. And we have basically told the end consumer that if you split the cost of the car, you buy the car as one and you buy the battery as one, in one single EMI, and you will have a lifetime ownership which is far, far lower than owning an ICE. And you'll be buying a much superior product than a 9 lakh manual engine SUV and versus our Windsor EV. So it's going to require us to educate the consumer. It's going to require us to educate our dealers. It's going to require all our sales force to get educated as well. But I think this solution, BAS as a solution, truly has the power to increase EV penetration in India manyfold.
So what is your hope and dream with the Windsor EV? Say by the end of next calendar year, where would you want JSW-MG's market share to be when it comes to electric vehicles?
I think if you look at our current market share of EVs, we are, anywhere between 33 to 35% market share between our ZS EV and our Comet. I'm talking about the last few months. I don't want to play in the EV space. Windsor might be an EV, it's also an EV. But I want to compete in the ICE market. This product has to take on the likes of the big sellers in that 9 to 11 lakh category and really cause ruffles. Obviously, if it does that, we should be the #1 player in the new energy vehicle space. And that's been the ambition at MG. And it's solutions like this, it's products like this that truly can make us the #1 player in the EV space. But that's not exciting. What's going to be exciting is taking our overall market share up from the current 1.8%. We want to at least double it by the end of next calendar year.
All right, doubling the share by the next calendar year. So, Mr. Chaba, if I look at the Windsor EV, immediately what comes to your mind that this will compete against probably the Ertiga, cars like the XL6, the Brezza, Creta, Venue, Kia Sonet for that matter. So there is a lot of competition. How big is the pie and how much of that are you hoping to grab with this car? And one more question, what is the range that a person really gets? Because when they think mileage, when they think range, this is going to be a criteria.
Right. So I think, Parikshit, you have answered this. The segment is huge. So, we are trying to attack compact SUV and B SUV, as we call it. So the pie is really huge. And right now, EV penetration is only 2%. As Parth just said, that we are trying to attract even the ICE customers with this offering. So the sky's the limit. It depends on our ability to educate people, train people, and convince people. On the range side, Parikshit, I would like to add on to what Parth said. As you know, only last month we initiated E-Hub, MG E-Hub. It means 80%, approximately 80% of the chargers of this country is available on our MG E app. And we are trying to encourage customers to go out and drive the car from even outside your city. And that gives people confidence, because we are saying if you charge the car, if you charge this Windsor car in public charging system, your charging is going to be free. The kind of technicality what we have got, technology what we have got is, it means you can plan this trip, as an example, from Bombay to Pune or Bangalore to Mysore or Delhi to Chandigarh, and you can see the chargers available. You can book the charger, you know the rate, but we are going to pay for you for 1 year. So that takes care a lot about the range anxiety, and obviously it goes without saying that within the cost of the car, we are going to install one charger at your home or in office, wherever you prefer.
So one full charge, 400 kilometers, 500?
So for this battery, 38 kilometers, still we need to get the official figures from ARAI, which we are going to get in the next 1 week or so. But we are known for confident charging. We are known for reliable mileage. So I think 330, 340 kilometers it should be able to give, but officially we are waiting for the certification.
Okay, Parth, what I would also like to ask you is what's going to be the offtake of this vehicle? You already have 2 or 3 products in EVs at MG Motor. How much are you looking to deliver in the next few months?
So if you look at MG as an organization, I think we are the only company that is growing its EV sales. Over last year, in the first 7 months of this calendar year, we've grown by 52%. And this car, like I mentioned, is going to be, we want this to be our biggest selling car within the MG platform. So we want this to sell more than the Hector. We want this to sell more than our current fleet. So it's difficult for me to give an exact number, because I don't want to put too much pressure on the team. But we have big plans for this car, and that's why we've come up with this innovating pricing. And yeah, we're very hopeful that with this product and the other 2 EVs, more than 50% of MG's overall sales will be from electric vehicles by December of this calendar year.
What is the current localization level of this car?
We are planning on taking this car to 80% localized within the next 12 to 16 months. That's the plan.
That is the plan. Mr. Chaba, also what we're now hearing is that the FAME 3 scheme is set to be announced. It is a 10,900 crore scheme, but at the same time, no incentives for electric cars in either fleet or private mobility. Does that come as a setback, or at least there is some clarity that, fine, you can now have to do without subsidies?
So as far as MG is concerned, frankly, we were not selling our ZSEV to the fleet anyway. We were not part of any FAME 2 subsidy. So our business case is not based on any subsidy from the government on this segment. Having said that, I think for industry perspective, I think support to EV is required, because it's a fledgling industry. It's just upcoming industry. It's like a young baby, and you need to handhold for some time, because it's part of the change management for the country. So from the industry perspective, I think some support should be required, and this is what I would say.
Right. Parth Jindal, Rajiv Chaba, thank you very much for joining us, and many congratulations on the launch of the Windsor EV, and all the best to your brand with that. That's all we have time for. Thank you for watching this special broadcast. Goodbye.